Netflix made an anime using AI due to a labor shortage, and fans are pissed. A new short film called The Dog and the Boy uses AI generated art for its backgrounds. Okay, now see the headline here, just right there, right? The headline versus the tag or descriptive there. Like there's a difference, there's a discrepancy there. Like, is it the backgrounds or is it the entire film? This is a big difference. Netflix created an anime that uses AI generated artwork, paint its backgrounds, and people on social media are pissed. In a tweet, Netflix Japan claimed that the project, a short called The Dog and the Boy, uses AI generated art in response to labor shortages in the anime industry. Oh, this is a Netflix original for Netflix Japan. But that might also be a factor here. It might be more of a controversy in
In
Asia
Japanese
as a
language.
exactly as opposed because the tweet is literally in Japanese as opposed to an English or American tweet.
100%. That you're right. That's probably why that is. Because I was trying to pull up some of the tweets myself, and I was just noticing that because the Kotaku headline is Netflix AI anime gets roasted for crediting artist as human. So yeah, even these two accounts of the story are a little bit different based off of what everyone's kind of reading through the translations of it all, I suppose. But what this boils down to is that there have been several instances of artists and fans getting mad at a company over the usage of AI. There was a book where the cover was done with an AI image and everyone was mad at the publisher on Twitter. This is all, I'll just say on Twitter for everything. We'll just preface all of this because that's where every time we say everyone is annoyed or everyone's doing this, what we mean is everyone on Twitter, unless otherwise specified.
Also, everyone is a vocal minority of particular individuals. It's not literally everyone because, again, a lot of people don't care, but yeah.
Yeah, and also, yeah, usually it'll be one or two people are tweeting, but then that tweet or those two tweets, whatever, get 20,000 things, or a bunch of people. In this case, what it was is the comment wells for Netflix Japan got filled up with 10,000 people that were all just making fun of them essentially, and it was the AI. So there's the anti-AI movement in the U.S. and the anti-AI movement in Asia, Southeast Asia, are two very strong movements. We'll start off with that because there have been in China, Japan, and South Korea have all had different controversies where the anime or the manga artists are getting essentially pissed off because their art is getting stolen, in their words, to be used by all of their fans. And there was one artist, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, where he had a very unique style. It was really cool, actually. And he died, was this December? And someone on Twitter, as a dedication to him, he had trained an AI model on that man's artwork. And when he released that model on Twitter, it caused a big stir on there. In China, they recently passed a law where AI generated content has to have a watermark, that it's required that anybody can trace it. This is kind of becoming a witch hunt of like who's using AI. And just like we were talking about before with the OpenAI's AI detection thing. So China is the first major government that basically said they're not banning AI, but you have to have a watermark to show that it is AI. And a lot of these studios, like Studio Ghibli, I'm going to say it wrong, and all these things in Japan and Korea have had some things to say about AI, or generative AI specifically. So this is coming off of that. So what's happening is Netflix is testing a lot of things in a lot of different countries right now. This one was the big thing in the Southeast Asia market where, they're getting this Netflix original is using backgrounds that were made by AI. And then in South America was where they rolled out their password sharing pilot program. And they were going to do in the US that should have been done by now, but they rolled it back this week because they said that they accidentally made the announcement and it was not supposed to happen. But what they're essentially doing on that end is, I believe what I'd seen was it was 31 days. Like, you have to log into your house network every 31 days or they will cancel your Netflix account for password sharing, basically. So when for example, your situation, I've been in the same situation where you move around a lot, it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass to have Netflix because they are not going to see the same IP addresses every time on there, and it's going to, I don't know how that's going to work out. But they got a lot of backlash over things like this. This year in Netflix controversies. We're only in February 4th right now. Yeah.
And international again.
Yes.
So like for American audiences, this might be a nothing burger. potentially.
Well, for the password sharing, that is America. The United States is
Oh, the
where.
password sharing. Sorry. I thought we were still talking about the anime. Yeah. For the password sharing, that's huge. I mean, if you want to talk about that, that's being rolled out internationally first as well. I think they're actually starting it and really like testing it slash enforcing it heavily in Latin America. But Netflix Home is the program it's operating under. That's rolling out everywhere like this year, in addition to the ad supported tier, which what they're basically doing is they're going to have stricter controls and tracking of, like you were mentioning, where people are, who's logging into, your account and whatnot. And if it's your Netflix account is going to be geo tagged, geolocated to your house, like your primary like login area. So if it sees a lot of logins from someone else's house, in particular someone else's house, let's say in another city, that's going to be a problem. If like you live in, again, giving just random examples, Detroit, and you're sharing your password with someone in Los Angeles or Tucson, that's going to be a problem if they keep seeing that, day after day, month after month.
That's the real worry about Netflix. But the fake worry about that, the outrage that people have against the usage of AI art is something that is going to be, I mean, this year, definitely, I see this year being the year where every brand, just like everyone released an NFT, every brand is going to purposely announce that they're using AI in some way in their marketing. I mean, there's already brands that are left and right trying to raise money by just saying we have AI, we have AI. Instagram this week was another one that we have AI. So this is going to be coming thing. I expect to see the Super Bowl is probably going to have some AI related ads in there. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of things going on throughout the summer where people are purposefully using AI in here, and so we're at the point where it reminds me of the SoundCloud mumble rap era, where everybody was getting mad at all of the SoundCloud rappers and mocking them. Everyone in the traditional legacy, we'll call it the legacy hip-hop industry, were mocking the genre, but that genre ended up being the big thing for that year. I mean, it's just like grunge and heavy metal popped out of rock. It's just, certain subgenres are going to keep popping up, and right now AI is that thing where everybody wants to be an AI artist at this point. Fiverr now has AI art and AI writing, all sorts of stuff on there. So it's now a part of the creator economy, whether people like it or not. No matter where you're at on the scale, whether you're by yourself or you're working for a Netflix or a Disney, generative AI is going to become a trend to where people are promoting themselves as using it more and more, and we're going to see how long it takes for people to kind of accept that, yeah, this is something that is not going away.
And now I completely digress, but I would say on that, the parsing I would do for clarity is for creatives and end users. People are neutral to negative, I would say, on AI in general. But I think the neutral to positive or even high positives come from traders, stockholders, investors, shareholders, just going off of, for example, the example we talked about behind the scenes last week. I think maybe did we talk about it on screen a little bit? Maybe we did. Or in last week's podcast, talking about how BuzzFeed is incorporating AI officially into their business model and their stock price shot up. So it's like the sales pitch of AI is basically telling investors, telling money guys, telling finance guys, hey, we're going to be much more efficient and slim and lean and mean because we're going to use AI, automation. In the same way as like a car manufacturer saying they're going to use automation, or a supermarket saying they're going to use automation, save money. Whereas you have to balance that against telling the average consumer or worker or artist, yeah, we're going to be essentially deprioritizing your interests or your jobs to save money.
I don't know. It's going to be a battle back and forth. And it's just like the computer. I remember in the 20th century, my parents were very much like, I loved computers ever since I was a kid. We always had access to them very early. And my parents always wanted me to go outside and play, Little League Baseball, for example, or join the Boy Scouts, all those kind of things. And, I did all that stuff too. And I appreciate them for doing that. But I laugh when as an adult, thinking that I've used computers in every single aspect of every job that I've ever had as an adult versus I can't tell you the last time I played baseball. I can't tell you the last time I maybe kickball. I think we played like a drunken kickball when I was in my late 20s. But beyond that, I definitely didn't make any money out of it. I've not done anything with that. So AI is going to be relatively the same thing. I read a lot of these things in the forums. Reddit is one of the worst places where the anti-AI people are mixing in on the AI forums. And you never know when you post something something on there, there's been some very controversial things, and it always makes me smile. If I can get 100 likes on something I put on there, then I know I did something right, because every second someone's upvoting it and downvoting it as these two waves of supporters are acting like
two different
it's
factions.
the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's like it's the competing rivalries, like the Justin Bieber's fans versus Rihanna's, or the K-pop arguing over which group is better. That kind of stuff. It's interesting to watch that play out with all of this.
I mean, you know my thoughts on Reddit. For those who don't know, I have negative thoughts on Reddit. But we will move on. You are correct in your assessment of the situation, though. This is Edokwin with Brian Penny for the AI Creator Economy podcast. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. You're going to get some good content throughout the week, every week.